Well, welcome here to lovely Aldrich Park to talk with the Vice Provost. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, my name's Cheyenne-Ramirez, and I'm a second-year undecided undeclared student.
Perfect. One of the best majors on campus.
I agree.
Yep. So, do you have any questions for me?
What's one of the hardest things you had to go through during your years at college?
During my years at college, that's a good question. I think for me, it was interesting. It's a little different than now. One of the challenges was being away from my family. And of course, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything. So when I got dropped off, my dad was very clear. I got to call once a week, for like 5 minutes, because phone calls were very expensive. You had to pay by the minute, and it was long distance. So I had to do a lot of writing letters. All of my friends from high school, I only stayed in touch with by writing letters. None of us really called on the phone ever. So there's that long delay. And so really adjusting to being away from family. I mean, it's weird. I was only 3 hours away by car, roughly the same by train. But I didn't have a car. And to go home for the weekend would have been expensive and a long train ride. So it really was that adjustment to being away from home and away from family. What's funny is, when I got dropped off, my dad was like, one phone call a week, that's all we can afford. And apparently he was the one, about 2 days in, said to my mom, no, we need to let him call more. So I got up, and by the time, it was interesting, by the time I graduated, the whole phone industry was changing and things, so I was definitely calling home more and doing more of that. But it really was that transition to being away from family, I think, was the hardest. Well, thank you very much for your question. That was great. I'm glad you could come out.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here we are, still enjoying our lovely day in Aldrich Park after all the rain this weekend. Please, welcome and introduce yourself to the camera.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Chen. I'm a fourth-year pharmaceutical science major.
Welcome. And so you have a question for the Vice Provost?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So when I first entered UCI as a first year, UCI was a great school already, but now I'm a fourth year. I see a lot of different improvements, whether it's new buildings, new programs,
right,
and so on and so forth. And my question to you is that what are some of the plans that you're thinking, or where do you think UCI is heading to?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. We have a couple of very exciting things coming down the pike. One of the big ones is I'm excited about 2 projects for space for students. So in our Student Services 2 building, on the 2nd floor right now is where we have Student Support Services in the Transfer Center, right, and our Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. And we're looking at renovating that suite and expanding it so that we really have a great student-focused study lounge, programming area for student transition, student support services, transfer students, and we're going to bring the International Student Excellence Program into that suite and really have a place for students to mix and mingle, interact with each other. Now you might say, okay, well, what about Europe? Well, we're planning a Student Excellence Center on the 6th floor of the Ayala Science Library. That's going to involve Europe, undergraduate research, the honors program, the Blum Center for Poverty Alleviation, our Scholarship Opportunities Program, and some really new modern study space for students. It's a great partnership with the library. So we're really looking forward to creating these student-focused study academic program experiences. And right with all of that, we're going to have our new Anteater Learning Pavilion, which will be a new state-of-the-art classroom building with all active learning classrooms and great lounges that will overlook this gorgeous park. So there'll be 3 floors of lounges at the end of the building with full glass walls for students to relax, study, and overlook the park. So there's a lot of neat infrastructure coming on board for students to be able to experience some of these great activities that we have for them. So great question. Great. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to ask?
Yeah, I actually got one follow-up question. So, just out of curiosity, from your busy schedule, do you have time to enjoy yourself? What do you do, as your hobbies?
So my hobbies, one, include hanging out with my kids. I have 3 daughters, and we do a lot of fun things. My oldest is a junior in college as well, so I'm very excited. We're actually going to she's studying abroad in Ireland. So study abroad, that's a great thing to do. Little plug there for the Study Abroad Center. We're going to go visit her in Ireland. She's in University of College Cork. So I do things with them. I actually still manage to coach my middle daughter a little bit in soccer. Oh, wow. I like to golf, but my favorite thing now is I give talks on science of superheroes and science and religion. So I just came back from a weekend of being at the Long Beach Comic-Con and the San Diego Comic Fest talking about these topics. So, and occasionally I get to film for TV. So I stay very busy even having fun. So, and every now and then I just crash and relax. And I annoy my kids while they watch a TV show. I ask them lots of questions as what's going on because I only get to see about every 5th episode of any TV series. So, but that's it. A lot of fun. Thank you for your questions.
sharing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you
For coming by.
Thank you.
Okay, well, welcome out here to the park.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
My name is Erick Hernandez. I'm a 4th year and my major is psychology and social behavior.
Oh, excellent. So you have a question for the Vice
I
Provost?
actually do. Being the first of your family to graduate college, what is something that you know now that you wish you knew as your time as an undergrad?
Okay, so this is a little moment for disclosure. As much as I'm a huge supporter of the first generation faculty thing, I'm actually not the first in my family to go, but I can kind of answer that question in a different way. I am the opposite of first in my family. My dad and mom both went to college, but my dad's a math professor and my mom's a high school math teacher, so education's in my blood. But one thing I think it's important for people who are first in their family to understand is there's a lot of challenges with being first in your family because, you know, there's not necessarily the knowledge network and the support that someone whose parents went to college, but even watching my kid now go to college, even those of us who are not first in our family, there was about 18 years between when my parents went to college and when I went, and a lot changes. And between when I went and my daughter's at college, a lot changes. Now, some stays the same, and my dad was able to give me advice like go talk to professors and be active and get engaged. But for every student, it is kind of a new and unique experience, and it's an exciting time where you get to do this thing that's your own. And try and own that and try and embrace it and really enjoy it, because all of us, it's really hard as parents, I see it with my own kids, not to impose upon them what we think they should do, and they've really got to decide for themselves what's best for them. And that's, I think, even harder for first generation students whose parents don't necessarily know what's going on at college and the wide range of choices that you have. I mean, think of all the majors at this campus. Like, how would you even know going in which one you would want to do? So that's kind of a little bit of my take on the experience, not having been through it myself, but been through college from a different route. So I hope that helps.
That does.
Okay, did you have any other questions?
Yeah. What do you believe is the defining factor in assisting first generation college students?
I think the biggest factor in assisting first generation college is actually the same for assisting all students, is recognizing that we need to meet students where they are, not where we think they are or where we want them to be. Right? As faculty, we do know a lot. We do bring a lot to the table as to what are good things to do, how to be successful, how to navigate college. But at the same time, we sometimes forget to stop and find out where our students are at, what it is they most need, what is the help they need. It was a funny, I don't know if I just read it recently or saw it. There was a great comment about, you know, faculty saying, oh, you know, why would you want to give so much help and advice? Students should just learn on their own and make mistakes. And the person said, well, that's kind of like telling people, don't go hire a tax accountant. Just make all your mistakes yourself on your taxes and get in trouble for it, right? I mean, why would we want to do that if we knew ways of helping people? Let's reach out and help them. But you first have to know where those students are, what it is that they don't know, and what it is that they need help navigating, because then you can do the even more exciting thing, which is leverage all the strengths they have. First generation students all come, every student comes with a sort of a unique set of experiences, backgrounds, and strengths, or they wouldn't be here at UC Irvine if they weren't an amazing student to begin with. And so it's finding out those strengths and leveraging them for the betterment of the university and the betterment of the student is something faculty can really do to help those students excel and succeed. So that's kind of the two sides to it. But it comes down to getting to know the students.
Okay.
Great questions. Thank you for your time.
Nice meeting you.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come out to the park. Why don't you introduce yourselves to our audience?
Hello, my name is Annie Wang. I am a business administration student and I am in my 4th year at UCI.
Well, welcome. Do you have a question?
I do. All right, so within UCI there are a lot of different opportunities like campus organizations, research, and competitions, but
Right.
some of them are geared more towards other majors, like research is geared more towards STEM and competitions are geared towards more of business and computer science. So how would you go about having people participate in all these opportunities, like, you know, finding them and getting involved?
That's an excellent question. So one of the things we do try to do is use the services in the Division of Undergraduate Education and also partnerships with Student Affairs to help educate students that even though these seem, you picked two great examples, competitions and research. So research seems to be just for STEM, but if you look at things like our Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program or UROP, it's been so successful at getting research in every area on campus. We have every major, every area, every field represented. When we have our Europe Symposium at the end of the year, it's amazing the types of research being presented, because the definition of a research university is all the faculty here are doing research. Now, it may not look like typical lab research in a coat. You know, research in the arts looks very different. It might occur through the play you write. It might occur through the musical piece you're performing. Research in the humanities is going to be looking at first person text and doing different analysis there. So the research will look different, but it's all research, and undergraduates have the opportunity to do it. So one great way for undergraduates to get involved is to follow up on Europe and go through their websites and see what the opportunities are. And the same with competitions. You know, students think, oh, it's just for the business major or the ICS student making the app. But really, every student has the ability to be an entrepreneur and consider a cool business idea. So we actually, because we're the Anteaters, we have the Entrepreneur Center, not the Entrepreneur Center. It's very important to know what it is. And again, that's a great way for students who aren't sure if their idea is any good or are nervous or don't know what to do. They can come explore what it would mean to start a business through getting advice and meeting with peer advisors and meeting with staff. So there are lots of ways for students to get this experience, and we just are trying harder to get the word out through interviews like this and through our advertising. So great question, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have any other questions?
Just one more. It's
Sure.
kind of just silly, but did you get to meet Barack Obama at graduation a few years ago?
I wish I did. I did not get to meet him. I got to see him up on stage. I did go to that graduation. I debated because, you know, it was kind of going to be hot and in Angel Stadium, but the chance to see the president was clearly well worth it. So that was fun. I definitely got to enjoy seeing him up on stage, listening to him talk. It would have been nice to meet him, but I didn't get that chance. I do get to meet some very interesting and fun people by being a faculty member and a professor as I go around. A lot of them tend to be just famous in the area of physics, but it's nice to see the wide variety of people and the different people out there that you get to meet when you do academics. So it's a fun career to consider.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for your time and your questions. Great meeting you. So thank you again for watching. This has been Ask the Vice Provost. I am Michael Dennin, the Vice Provost for Teaching and Learning, Dean of the Division of Undergraduate Education. You can find me on Twitter at DenninMichael or on Facebook at Prof. DenninMichael. And you can look for the Office of the Vice Provost of Teaching and Learning websites and our YouTube page. Thank you very much, and see you next time.